Hi everyone, and thank you for joining us for today's webcast, JD Edwards Security moving from an open system to a closed system. Please note that we have two upcoming workshops, one in Irvine, California, and the other in Chicago, Illinois. For more information on those, please visit getgsi.com/JD Edwards Conferences and Events. My name is Kaylin Hensley, Marketing Coordinator with GSI. I'm also very pleased to welcome our main presenter, Robbie Scott.
Hello, everyone.
Now, before we get started, I wanted to give you a chance to review our Safe Harbor Statement. Now, for a quick overview of today's meeting, which will last about 60 minutes. First, we would like to take a moment to go over a couple of housekeeping items, as well as provide a brief company overview. Then we'll turn it over to Robbie to get into our main presentation and demo, which will last about 40 minutes. And next, we'll take a minute to go over upcoming educational events, and then we'll wrap up with a 10-minute Q&A session. If you would like to submit a question, you can do so through the questions panel at the bottom of the GoToWebinar console window located on the right side of your screen. Please note that questions will be answered at the end of the presentation, so if you'd like to minimize your GoToWebinar console during the presentation, just click the right-facing arrow key on the top left of the console. Clicking the left arrow key will return the console so that you can input your questions. Now I'd like to give you a brief overview of GSI. GSI is a full-service JD Edwards consulting organization. We're an Oracle Platinum partner that was founded in 2004 and now have over 100 employees. We have offices nationwide and are recognized on the Inc. 5000 list of fastest-growing companies in the U.S. GSI specializes in project consulting, managed services, and cloud and hosting services, with all of our services backed with a 100% guarantee. GSI also provides a broad spectrum of business, functional, and technical consulting services for Oracle NetSuite, Oracle Cloud, Salesforce, ServiceNow, and other enterprise applications. In addition, we are a product development company that has many popular products, including Genius, which is our advanced monitoring and performance analytics solution for JD Edwards or any business-critical system on any platform. Genesis is our load stress testing application for system design, validation, or expansion for JD Edwards or any web-based business-critical system. G Shield is our comprehensive security solution for JD Edwards, including password reset and 2FA authentication. Rapid Reconciler, which allows you to effectively manage your inventory in transit and RMV reconciliation processes for any version of E1 or World. Rapid Approval is a Salesforce App Exchange solution that streamlines the approval request process. Now I'd like to turn things over to Robbie for our main presentation and demo.
Thank you. So, as stated, okay. Let me bring up the presentation. So, as stated, my name is Robbie Scott, and today I will be going over the differences between an open system and a closed system in JD Edwards and how to transition from one to the other safely. So first things first, some terminology. Star Public, which is a very important security role and security hierarchy, which helps determine the order in which security is read and prioritized. So Star Public is a special role in JD Edwards that is there by default. It is a role that everyone has by default. At the basic level, it determines what the default access is in the system. So any lines written at the Star Public level, that is what everyone will have if they do not have roles that say otherwise. So as I said, it is designed so that roles assigned to the user will override whatever is written at the Star Public level. Talking about levels, levels have to do with the security hierarchy. The security hierarchy is the determination which security is overwritten. So JD Edwards, when looking for a user's security, will start at the user level and will make its way down. So Star Public, as you can tell by the pyramid, Star Public is the last record it will look at. It will look at user level first, then roles in a descending order. So the highest level role is going to be the first role that it looks at for whatever the user's security might be, going all the way down until Star Public. If none of the records in any of the roles say anything about a particular program, whatever is in Star Public, it will assume that. So what determines what kind of system that you have? Mostly it's done through Star Public. Star Public controls what the access is by default. Basically what that means is that when a brand new user is entered into the system, Star Public decides what a user can and cannot see in the system without any roles. From there, roles are assigned to limit or allow access. There are two types of systems. There's open systems and there's closed systems. So let's start with open systems. Open systems have there can be two versions of Star Public. And by default, straight out of the box, JD Edwards has an open system. The two versions of Star Public can be Star All with all yeses for application and action security, or no Star All record. And like I said, default JDE is an open system. By default, Star Public has no Star All record. You have to physically go in and add it. From there, it determines whether or not what the system has. So basically what that means is that all programs are open to all users. Anyone can see, run, or change information for any program in the system. So from there, roles are built to limit what people can see. There has to be a record for everything that the role should not be able to see. So for example, if a user only needs P01012, which is the address book application, to have a fully secure role with access to P01012, a record for every other application would have to be entered into that role. If you have, JDE has a lot of applications, that is a lot of records. if you have a few hundred roles, you have to do that for every single role. As you can imagine, that can probably get fairly hectic fairly quickly. From there, most times what a lot of people do is that they decide, hey, so this role definitely should not have access to these applications, so they'll only fill in those. They'll give those no records. From there, what a lot of people tend to do is that they tend to filter the menu. Now, when the menu is filtered, it is not an actual substitute for security. Filtering the menu may keep someone from seeing something that they should not be able to see, but technically speaking, the user still has access to the filtered application. If there is not a record in any of the roles saying that, hey, John Doe cannot have access to P01012 in an open system, star public determines, yes, he does have access to it. He may not be able to see it, but if he can find a way to get to it, he will still be able to access it and change information within it. You can see how this could be an issue. Now, as I said, open systems are faster to implement straight out of the box, but it is a very, very unsafe implementation. Obviously, it is not very secure. It can get fairly messy. It is highly recommended that you go with something else, which is, excuse me, a closed system. Now, there can be various degrees of closed system, but a truly closed system has a star public, star all record of all no's for action and application security. What this means is that all access is blocked. A new user entered into the system without any roles whatsoever can only see or cannot see, run, or change anything in the system. They're completely locked out. So from there, roles are built to permit access to what is needed. So basically, think of it as the roles from there, think of them as security passes. If you have permission to see, if your role says that you're allowed to see P01012, you can see P01012. Everything else is blocked. Excuse me. The nice thing about roles built in a closed system, they only need to be given records for what that role needs. So if you have an address book inquiry role, you only need to have a record for P01012. No other records need to be written because star public will say, okay, you can have access to this, you cannot have access to anything else. Menu filtering can be used to block applications that the role should not be able to see, but as I said, it is not security. Menu filtering is a form of user interface. It's designed to limit what a user can and cannot see in order to streamline. So think of it as kind of an extra layer. A user may not be able to, a user cannot have access to address book and it is filtered off their menu, so they have no way to see it. They would have to go digging for it, and even then, if they could manage to find it, they do not have a record that lets them access it. So while
Robbie,
Yes.
Sorry to interrupt. We are not in full presentation mode, so we're not seeing the next slide as you're going to it.
Is that better?
Yes, that is better.
Okay. So, sorry about that. So the closed system may be harder to implement, but it is highly recommended because of the security blocking users from accessing things by default. If you forget that, in an open system, if you were to forget that a user cannot see P01012, they will have access to it. If you forget to assign anything to a role in a closed system, by default, the role cannot see the program. However, with the right tools and partner, the transition can become significantly easier. So let's take a quick look at an example. So we are going to look at creating a voucher entry role in an open and a closed system. We're going to call it 04 BCH-ENT, and it only needs access to the program P0411. So in an open system, as you can see, you have your star public star all record with all yeses. So that means they have access to anything. Now for your 04, for the actual role itself, as you can see, you have about 7 records right there. And this is just a small portion. If you were to truly secure a voucher entry, you would have a lot more records. Because technically you would need to block everything in the system except for one program. So if you were to have 1,000, let's say you have 1,000 applications, you would have to write 999 lines to block the voucher entry role from seeing everything. Now, in a closed system, as you can see, you have your star public star all record with nos, and then there's your voucher entry role. It has one line saying, okay, this role can see P0411. It can see it, it can run it, and it can change information with it. That's the only record written to that role. As I'm sure you can imagine, that is a lot easier to maintain than trying to keep hundreds of records within an open system. So, well, now you might get nervous. How do I switch? I have an open system. How do I switch from an open system to a closed system? How do I do it safely? Well, the first thing that you want to make sure you are doing, and I cannot stress this enough, make sure everything you do is in your testing environment. From there, you'll be able to catch mistakes and catch errors without it affecting businesses, or without it affecting business. So if you were to start messing with the roles or start messing with Start Public in your production environment, it will impact business and it could create problems. Suddenly, everyone cannot access what they normally should be able to access. So the next step you want to do is that you want to create a role to simulate Start Public. Typically, we just call it public. And you want to give it a very, very, very low sequence number. Try to get it at the bottom of the list. This will, remember, going over the security hierarchy, This will make it so that this public role will be one of the last things it looks at. And because it will have a star public or a star all no record, anyone assigned this public role while testing will simulate being in a closed system. Okay, so now you have the role set up. From there, you will have to rebuild your roles using the closed system. Previously existing roles can either be removed entirely, or you can restructure them in your testing environment to allow access rather than restrict access. So you would wipe away your records in your testing environment and you say, okay, so we had voucher entry blocking everything. Well, now we're going to give it access to P0411 and that's it. And you will have to do this with all of your roles. From there, you're going to want to test extensively. New roles and the public role will simulate being within a closed system without actually changing star public. You want to save that for last. Once everything has been tested and you're ready to go, the system's all set up, you'll use the public role in the new roles, promote them up to production, and you'll want to migrate them over. So typically you do it one group at a time. So you would start with your AP users. All right, are they, convert them over to the closed system? Are they working all right? Perfect. Move on to AR. Are they working all right? Perfect. Move on to accounting, then inventory, then warehouse, et cetera, et cetera. Once everyone is set up, once everyone is set up in the closed system, that is when you can change the star public record, and the regular public role can be removed. It's no longer needed. So, as I said, having a partner can make this entire process significantly easier, which is what we do. We at the GSI security team, one of our main jobs is full security revisions. So the first thing we typically do is that we assess your security. What kind of system do you currently have? What are the major risks? Who have the major risks? Is there someone who can create, edit, and submit vouchers and they shouldn't be able to? Things like that. From there, you're going to want to plan for the transition period. How long is developing this new system going to take? Well, that's going to be affected by how many users you have. If there are a lot of users, then it's going to take a bit longer because a lot more people are going to be affected. When should the new system be ready to go? We'd like to have a plan. Okay, we want to aim to have everything set up by 6 months from now. From there, we design the new system. We determine the basis for the new security. Do we want to keep the current task view, or do we want to create a brand new one? The job that I'm on the project that I'm on right now, they liked how they had all of their modules, but they had a lot of extra things in each of the modules. So I worked with them and I was like, okay, so we don't really use these anymore, so let's remove them. We don't need them anymore. Their task view ended up looking significantly better. All the users are happy with it. Another project, we had to create a task view from scratch. they basically said, yeah, ours is complex and there's a lot of extra stuff in it we don't need. So let's just take it all down and we will create a brand new one. So we discussed what everything needed to look like and put everything where it needed to be and created a brand new task view from scratch. Then from there, we want to define and design the process-based roles. And process-based roles are very, very important. They are roles that, rather than being job-based, where you have someone, this is your AP person's job, here's what they do. Rather, it is separated out by process, okay? Here's the role that you can create vouchers. Here's the role that lets you edit vouchers. Here's the role that lets you submit vouchers. Here's an inquiry role, things like that. Now, what we want to do with that is we usually interview with the subject matter experts in the company, the SMEs, the SMEs. Interviewing with the SMEs is a very, very big part of how well this project can go. The better the interviews with the SMEs go, the easier it will be to build the new task view and build the new system. The more information we're given, the better off we'll be when we actually just start building everything. From there, we build the system. We create the new menus, create the new roles, add the security, and make sure everything is set up the way it should be. The nice thing about All Out, which is a tool we in the security team highly recommend everyone use in JD Edwards, it allows you to fine cut the roles, so filter the menu, and from there, 2 clicks later, all of the new roles that you've made now have access, now have security based on the fine cut that you gave it. And from there, it's very easy to edit rather than trying to add the lines one at a time. So from there, we test, which we call user acceptance testing. You want to make sure that you test everything. Users should test every process they do from beginning to end. And if you have multiple users doing the same job, all of them need to do the same test. The more people test the process, the more likely it is we'll catch any issues. Any issues that are caught can be recorded, fixed, and then once we have fixed them on our end, then they can be retested. Well, and it's happened before. We fixed one issue, well, that created a new issue. And we can determine how we want to fix that issue and then retest it up until we feel that it is secure. From there, we deploy. We go live with the new system. Everything in the testing environment can be promoted to production. So everything is good to go and we promote it to production, and that is when it will actually start affecting business. If user acceptance testing went well, then we should have no issues. We on the security team like to have a slow go live week. That means that when we built and secured everything, we did it properly. Testing fixed any mistakes we found. Now, small last minute mistakes can be found. It's been known to happen, but those can be fixed fairly quickly during go live. And from there, we clean up. So the old roles can be cleaned up or removed entirely, depending on what the user wants to do with it. And then the new roles and processes can be cleaned as well. So say a couple weeks past go live, the client comes back to us and says, so we built this role and we gave it too much access. We want to split that up. Very easy. We clean up the old role, separate it out, and it's good to go. And so, as I said, member of the security team, we offer numerous consulting jobs. We do security assessments where we can take a look at your security and recommend fixes. Strategy and design, we can help you build new security. We go over audit and SOX compliance, which is a big part of what we do. We basically make sure that the roles that you have designed are SOX compliant, meaning that if you were to be audited, you will have the least amount of issues as possible. Less flags, the better. We can optimize your security. We offer full service security implementations, which is similar to the job that the project that I'm on now. We can take your straight out of the box JD Edwards and implement it the way you want. We can design, optimize, and automate any processes that you wish to have redone. And we offer secure care, which is we maintain your or we manage your security system in JD for you. We have a very big project that we're working on right now that we're doing all secure care, and they love us. But yeah. If you have any questions, as I said, my name is Robbie Scott. You can reach me at that phone number or that email address. And that's all I have.
Thanks, Robbie. I'm going to go over a couple of housekeeping items, and then we'll move into our question and answer portion right after that. Give me just a minute. Our webcast today is part of GSI's free ongoing educational webcast series on JD Edwards. Our upcoming webcasts are listed on the screen. To view our most up-to-date schedule, please visit getgsi.com/JD Edwards webcasts. Also, please take a moment to review our upcoming workshops listed on the screen. GSI provides extensive free educational resources for the JD Edwards community, including our weekly educational webcasts, monthly newsletter called the GSI Insider, online resource center where you can access our on-demand webcasts, white papers, etc., and on-site and virtual workshops. If you would like to sign up for our weekly email reminders for upcoming webcasts, our monthly newsletter, or create an account to access our resource center, go to getgsi.com, go to resources and events on the main menu, select JD Edwards, and then select the appropriate link on the right. Also, we welcome you to check out our ERP talk. The information is listed on the screen. Okay, I would like to remind everyone that if you would still like to submit a question, you can do so using the questions panel in the GoToWebinar console window located on the right side of your screen. If you minimized your console earlier, please click the left arrow to redisplay the questions panel. All right, give me just 1 second so we can pull up our questions. Our first question comes from Michael, who asks, are you suggesting a second F00950 table or create the public role in the production F00950 and test from there?
So you would create the production role in your testing environment. You don't want to do any of your testing in production. But yeah, you would create the regular public role in your testing environment, whether it's DV, ACC, or some other environment you decide to use for testing, and then assign it a low sequence number, and you would test in your testing environment.
All right. That appears to be the end of the questions for now, but please remember, if you have any questions, you can use the contact information for myself or Robbie at the bottom of the screen. As a follow-up from today's webcast, we ask that you complete a short 1-minute survey when you exit. You will be receiving an email with a link to our resource center on our website where you can access the recording from today's webcast, as well as a copy of the presentation. After today's webcast, we will do the drawing for the $25 Amazon gift card. Anyone who attended the entire webcast will be eligible, and we will notify the winner. Thanks again for attending our presentation, and have a great day.